So welcome to Group C. The first matchup is going to be ruBy versus sAviOr. sAviOr with a 67%. Win rate quite high, especially versus turn, which is about 64%, which is pretty crazy. On the other hand, we will see ruBy in just a moment. We'll see what his stats look like. This will be an interesting matchup because both of these players can play this matchup extremely well. So we see ruBy. So his stats don't seem to be the greatest, more human, but his TVZ is extremely good basically. So we'll be getting into the match very shortly. So this group essentially has 4 players. There's ruBy and sAviOr who will be playing here first in the first match, and match 2 would be Anytime versus Cal. So let's get the first match started. So the map will be Loki 2, fighting. So we see ruBy in blue in the right spawn. And we see sAviOr at the purple Zerg in the left spawn. So 7 o'clock essentially. 7, 8 o'clock. So we've seen this map already in the first group and some of the others as well. We've seen several strategies on this map. You know, some of the mirror openers into the +1 carapace, adding the lurkers and going for the hive. We've seen the crazy Zerg style. And because there is that back expansion where the opponent can take their a faster base, like a faster CC hatchery, it does change the dynamic as well. We'll see. So it looks like actually sAviOr is going for the 9 pool. It's a pretty interesting opener, so it looks like he wants to put on the aggression. We'll see what ruBy's planning to do. So 9 pool gas. You're going to get speed first. Oh no, looks like he's actually just using it up. He just made the gas with the larva just to get an extra supply so he can squeeze out one more drone. So the racks, more than likely racks FE from ruBy's side. And the SV is going to scout. We do see the stats for TVZ on this map is exactly 50%. Small sample size. So we'll see how things progress. More than likely we'll see some Zerglings come out. And then followed by the hatch and the gas. So we see the drone moving down. More than likely the hatch is coming up. But it looks like it's scouting around, probably waiting for that SCV. So it's trying to hide just so that it can take the hatchery, because if it is scouted, the SCV will block the hatchery. But the Zerglings are out, so it wouldn't have been for long even then. Looks like the first mine is going to be out. The question is, ruBy does need to pull at least 2 to 3 SCVs here. But that SCV is doing a good job of blocking those Zerglings. And we see more and more Zerglings coming out basically. So you can see ruBy, 4 SCVs, that's pretty decent. Especially with just the single marine, he's going to lose at least an SCV here, potentially 2 as well. But that's a fantastic pullback as well. Oh, he loses 1 SCV, is going to expose him. But looks like that SCV did do a good block, so he will survive. And he will see that it's going to be a double expansion. Or rather, so essentially it's a 3 hatch, but the other expansion is at the in base. So this is going to give sAviOr a lot of mineral, and he's going to have access to the gas as well. Now the gas is done for ruBy. It'll be interesting to see. So I do see the academy, and I don't see any CC or anything. So maybe he's going to go for a 1 base timing. But so we should see probably at least another 1, and we do see Stim actually going. So he's probably going to add another rack soon. to try and get maybe another one, potentially two. We'll see if that's what he's going to decide to do, but the academy is definitely on the fast side. Oh, and we actually have already, no, so maybe he's going to expand behind this actually. That's what it seems like he's going to do. So maybe the medic is more for extra insurance. So if sAviOr does decide to go for a big Zergling attack, at least he's going to have the one medic now with the Fire Bat, and that's the Fire Bat will do a lot in helping him survive any early Zergling aggression. So sAviOr does feel threatening. He is throwing down a second Sunken. So one thing to note though is that's a very nice run by, but there is a Fire Bat over there, so those Zerglings won't do much. But there is, yeah, a single kill. But the Marines are basically there, and it looks like Stim is done as well. The EB is going up too. The Lurch would have been under the way at this point for sAviOr, and looks like he's just doing a bit of a scout just to see how things are. So we see there is a building morphing, so we'll see what that's going to be. So it's an Evo chamber, the +1 armor, more than likely. We see the second Drax going down, and it didn't look like the EB was blinking, so, but it's probably going to be +1 soon. Yeah, it looks like it's blinking now. Things are mostly on track, mostly drawing up, just keeping tabs on each of the players. The layer is on the way as well. Probably another minute or probably in about another minute or so, probably a bit less than that, it will be done though, and that's when we're going to get a better idea of what sAviOr will decide to do, whether it's going to be, oh, there you go, the layer is done. So we'll see, but with the Evo chamber, it's a bit on the faster side, so it might be a lurker opening. But okay, so it looks like it's going to be the Spire basically, so it might be just the Mutilix into the +1 lurkers basically, and go from there. The gas is finished at the expansion. And the comp set is almost done, so ruBy is going to find out more details in just a second when he scans sAviOr's base, just to get an idea of what kind of strat he is going for. So factors go up at 6:30, it's not too bad. Slightly early, we do see a 4th base for sAviOr as well in the bottom right. If he does manage to get this up and doesn't get it scouted, then that's going to be a huge win, because he already has the 3 gas. He's going to end up being on 4 gas as well. But there is plenty of time before that happens, so ruBy still has plenty of time. Stim is his range is on the way as well. The Spire should be done soon, so turrets should be going up around the base. And we see another Evo as well. So +1 attack, +1 armor. So it could potentially be just a couple of Muras straight into a mass, some kind of mass Hydra play, some mass lurker play, I mean. But we still don't see a Hydra then, or at least nothing has been shown yet. Starport is up as well. I do like ruBy's position right now, but sAviOr's isn't too bad either. He does have a healthy economy with the drones. So the question is to see just what is, I can do see the, okay, so it looks about this 5 meters out now, right now. But ruBy's micro is extremely strong, and he does seem to have looked at the bottom basically, so he likely has an idea that there is a base there, and 5 meters is not going to stop, or 6 meters is not going to stop this many Marines, this many M&M. So he needs to actually get something to survive, and that sunk is not going to do it basically. He needs more than that. So you can see he's basically rushing to defend. sAviOr doesn't, or ruBy does not want to lose that Fire Bat though. There is quite a bit of Mutilix here, but there is quite a bit of Marines as well. So it's going to be a micro battle at this point. Now the 2 sunkers will help in terms of the pathing, and then especially with the Muras, you can see that they're going to bring a lot, they're delaying the M&M a lot, but I think ruBy will still have enough to move down basically. So this can go either way. The micro is important, sAviOr is doing a lot of work, but there isn't enough Muras to actually help, so I think ruBy is going to break this basically. Oh, but we do see more mirrors, so okay, this is gonna be safe at this point then. The question is just how much of an army does ruBy have at home, and can he actually do a follow-up push basically? Because this army is forfeit, but keep in mind that sAviOr was not droning up during this time as well. So even though this is in sAviOr's advantage right now, especially with the hive on the way, it still is ruBy's not arfit just yet. So more moves are out. We do see the double port. So 3 racks 2 port. And looks like for now ruBy is content to stay on the 2 bases. Especially with just how much production he has, he can definitely support those with a 2 base economy. What I would personally love to see is for ruBy just to add another 2 racks and then just go for like a 5 racks 2 port and try and expand behind that if he's planning to play for the long game. And it does look like he actually is adding 2 more racks. Now the +1 armor should have been finished already for sAviOr, more likely +1 attack as well, because the evos have been done for a while. There is quite a bit of a turret line, so sAviOr can't really do much damage, but he does have his Ultralisk going, Ultralisk Cavern basically. So essentially he is going for the +1 Zerg style as well. The crack is more than likely being researched right now, and he's more than likely going to get the armor upgrade for the Ultras too. So, and then he's going to try and push it. So the best thing ruBy can do at this point is that if he did read the game, and you can see it is 1-1 for the Zerglings already. Best thing ruBy can do is basically just build up his forces, build up his vessel count, make sure they have the energy, and then go for a massive push basically. Lots of irradiates, lots of D-Matrix. And I believe he should have enough to break him basically. But this tile is extremely strong if you can get the upgrades on time. And if you can make sure that you have enough units and get a good surround, then you will beat the Terran basically. So we can see going up to 7 racks as well. So it looks like he with the scans, I can hear a scan going on, so he must have seen the double evos. And that looks like a canal. So what I want to see is the upgrades. Looks like we have what, 1-0, so he's actually trailing behind the upgrade, so that's not a good thing basically. He's only... No, I don't believe I saw a second eBay for ruBy. I personally would love to see one. Just try and match or exceed the upgrades, because that would give you a much better chance to play the game in the long run. But he is moving out before... or it looks like he might be planning to move out soon. He is 1-1 now. Okay, so I do see the double EBs, which is great. Double EBs, which is great. So the Ultras out, they don't have speed just yet. They don't have their armor upgrades. This is a prime time for ruBy to move out, and he has quite the sizable army. If he's actually managed to push across the map now, he will be able to actually beat what sAviOr has. So sAviOr needs to buy some time, and we did see the top left expansion being taken. So build up your Ultras crackling army with strong upgrades, and then expand all over. And then Zerg has to essentially go hunting, and that gives you enough time to get these other bases up. Oh! So this was really close. He could have actually caught at least 3 vessels there. But it looks like sAviOr is in a bit of trouble now, because ruBy is going to be straight at his doorstep. You can see he is building quite a bit of sunken because he realizes what the situation is. The question, and you can see still no speed on the Ultralisk yet, and there is mass irradiate coming out as well. So ruBy, fantastic so far from him. He's basically moving, but he should, if I was in his position, I would attack for sure, yeah, with the medic block. So those archers are being softened up very quickly with irradiate. And even keep in mind the mirrors as well, because you can see like all 4 archers are essentially gonna die from this. That's a huge loss for sAviOr at this point. While ruBy didn't really lose a single M&M, all he lost was energy. And you can see the double drop. If this drop ends up going into the back expansion and killing the Defiler mount as well as the Evos, then that's going to be a fantastic win, even if it doesn't kill the expansion. And there is quite a bit of units here as well to contest these Ultralisks. but you can see the M&M is extremely strong. Now the drop does get in basically, and it's a fantastic position. So it looks like there's a lot of damage going to be, but you can see he is targeting the Evos because he realized this is one of the big things about this build. You need the upgrades because it makes the Zerglings and Ultras more potent. And the Evo is done, and the Defiler Mound is going to be extremely close, and he should be able to get it. He's going to be able to get it, and he gets the Defiler Mound. This was a fantastic win. Fantastic win for ruBy, and he can actually even push the front if he likes, because all the units are in the back basically, but I don't believe he's going to push just yet. He probably wants to gather up his vessel count and his army. And you can see he has quite a lot of units back home. He is on 2-1 right now as well. On the other hand, our Zerg sAviOr is on 2 armor, but I believe the upgrades would be 2-2 as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2-2. So it's about close to even an upgrade, just slightly ahead in attack for the Zerg for sAviOr, but his army is extremely small. On the other hand, ruBy has quite a bit. So if sAviOr doesn't have a Defiler, he's gonna get busted. And you can see this is a huge amount of M&M. There's no way that sAviOr can defend this basically, especially with the huge mass coming from behind. He needs a Defiler. Like, you can't engage just much, and you can see it's a huge amount, and it's just more and more being rallied. He's gonna get his expansion busted, and I don't see sAviOr surviving this. He's more than likely gonna get a GG right after this, because all of his army is gone, his drones are fighting, all his Sunkens are gone. There's 7 vessels which haven't been reduced one bit. A plague would have been nice, a couple of plagues, but his Defilers weren't out in time. And we even see a D matrix on 2 marines there basically, and it's more likely going to be an eraser there, or he could also be checking for Defilers basically, but that base has been forfeit, and the top left base doesn't have any drones on it, so that base is as good as useless basically. And looks like ruBy took his in-base assassin behind it, so he's in a fantastic position. He's going to try and walk up the base. And just snipe the United, and as soon as he snipes the Ultras Cavern, you know, the Evos, the pool, essentially sAviOr can't do anything at this point. The game is over. Looks like ruBy is going to be the first one to advance to the winners match, and we see a huge amount of Marines. We get the GG. So fantastic game from ruBy. It seems like he read the situation extremely well and pulled the trigger when it was the right time.